Awesome. Did you feel her words, her heart? I don't think I've heard a more beautiful prayer in a long time. Thank you. She took a moment to start where we all should start, and that's with the divine knowing of that absolute truth. I am here to share some words about substance and supply, and the October theme has to do with our sense of abundance and prosperity. And oftentimes we look at our financial good and we see prosperity in that avenue. And in all my years, it seems that this is where we tend to separate God out from what's going on. You know, it's we can see it in our health and in our livelihood, in our friendships, and then money. Well, let's worry. Let's worry a little bit more up until now. And so I have such an intrigue with reading the different books that are in publication that go way back to all the ideas about prosperity, and the intriguing idea that some cultures till this day don't deal with money at all. They're so happy. They're really happy, and they thrive because they don't deal with it. They don't tend to worship something outside of themselves, and money can tend to become that. And this isn't a downer about money, because money is just a form that substance took to allow us to be able to share with one another. So I'm gonna talk at this service about substance, and at the 10:30 a little bit more about supply. But I want to always start with where you are. So as I speak, allow yourself to keep getting comfortable with where you are when I share some of these thoughts. Watch yourself say, I can go along with that. Oh, I don't kind of agree with that, or why am I struggling with that? And just kind of watch yourself kind of open and open and open. The class that I'm in right now, I'm with several really wise people, and we are sharing the reading of the Upanishads together. And in that wisdom, the Upanishads is over 6,000 years old, over that. And yet the wisdom is so pertinent to what's going on today. And I want to share with you one of the key prayers, and see if you don't think this sounds like science of mind. May my word be one with my thought, and my thought be one with my word. Isn't that science of mind? Who, Ernest Holmes said it, or some Vedic mystic? May my word be one with my thought, and my thought be one with my word. O Lord of love, let me realize you in my consciousness. May I realize the truth of the scriptures and translate it into my daily life. May I proclaim the truth of the scriptures. May I speak the truth. May it protect me. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Wow. May my word be one with my thought, and my thought be one with my word. And that's the key to all acceptance of the substance of all that already is. Substance is that which flows all through all that is. And in another more current day, Steve Jobs says this in the opening quote of May McCarty's book, and she is going to be, she spoke here before, and she's coming again the first weekend in January, so you don't want to miss her. She's very wise in prosperity consciousness. But Steve Jobs says this: your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma. which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voice, and most important, have the courage to follow your heart and follow your own intuition. Albert Einstein says, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." So these wise men in their time remind us to live our truth, to get our strength and our personal power and our personal knowing from that which dwells within. Now, Scripture is not the same as dogma. Dogma is when we are told you must do this, 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 and this. And you can certainly abide by dogma to help bring some balance into your own living experience. But if it's something that doesn't sit right with you, it's not yours, and you need to listen to that intuitive grace to know what is yours. So we speak today about substance and what that really is. And I'm kind of intrigued right now. I'm working with Diana and Carol and Mary and Diana Johnson and Chris and Kelly, our new financial officer in the office, a couple other people, but we're doing the budget. We're doing the budget for 2019. So we are certainly working with substance. And we are looking at potentiality and possibility. And we're looking at what has been and what can be. And holding all of this in a divine container of recognizing that it's very important right now, our mind, as we all put our minds together onto the table as we discuss these things and stay with the idea there is enough and not cross over to there might not be enough. It's very tricky. And if you do your own personal budgets, you might find yourself in that, sometimes saying, I am trapped in the concepts of enoughness. And all we can live by is the day that we're in and the manna, the grace that falls upon us from the heavens above. And that is the substance with which we can live our life and have our experience. We are wise stewards of the manna that drops from the heavens. And we don't abuse or assume that we can be careless with it. And especially here at the center, this is our money, our abundance that we've all gathered and accumulated together. It's all of ours. And so we're very wise with how much goes for paper, how much goes for a printer, how much goes to these different directions, and how much continues to invest in the spiritual growth and the power of our center, so we reach out as a beacon of light. That beacon of light is a visionary concept that every time we've sat and had vision sessions, people say there's a light. There's a light. It's drawing the community, this light. And so we base a lot of our decisions on being that pure light. So we do know that we live in an abundant universe, and surely your prayer about the trees and the leaves reminds us, yeah, we're looking at them now, they're beautiful, and soon they'll be barren. And we don't think, well, there that goes, never going to see another leaf now. And then spring comes, and we're like, oh my gosh, the beauty. They first start out with flowers, and then they turn to leaves. And then they shade us and provide good air for us all through the rest of the season until they fall again. The cycles. We're always in a cycle. And when we can sit in that divine knowing, we can sit in that place within ourselves and be the wise one, being steered in all of our thinking to know there's always enough, and there will be an opportunity when we think that there's lack, if that even comes into our consciousness, that too will pass and there will be this rebirth. We live in an abundant universe with an infinite supply. That's Eric Butterworth. And he reminds us of the need to establish ourselves in the omnipresence of a universal substance. You are all a part of this universal substance. If you're one with the universe, and I speak of the universe, not necessarily confining ourselves even to this earth, but the universe. We are one with all the planets and the stars and the galaxies. We're all one with that. And then into the minute, we're also one with each other. And you're a part of all that is. And that when we sit and close our eyes in that spaciousness and recognize all the potentiality of what this substance is for our individual expression, when we tap into those qualities, it's exciting to know, what can I partake of this vast universe and glorify the gifts that come through me as a channel of this divine, and give back to my universe? What does that stir inside of you? And notice the times where you might have played it a little smaller, had a little doubt, had a feeling of, I can't really take that class because it costs this much. I can't do this because my car repair needs that. I start to bargain with the universe instead of establishing in a place of knowing that as I recognize that the substance is pouring through me, and as I cling to nothing and allow it to flow through, there's enough for all, more than enough, more than enough. And I'm not there 100%. Let me tell you, I'm not there 100%. I'm still dangling around per diem at the hospital, like, I'm so tired of working, but I just think, well, I need to make some money, and I keep thinking, okay, I'm going to go in there this week and tell them I'm done. And then I go in and think, I'm not done, am I? And so I stay on the time clock. I don't know why. All my life I felt like I had to work for my good. How many of you guys have that, right? Yeah, we have to keep working for our good. And that's not a wrong thing to do, but there's so many graceful ways that good can come. I've shared this before, but when we had a prosperity class and we were supposed to give a number out there of what we wanted for our annual to be, and I remember claiming it and thinking, that'll never happen. Hello, how can it happen with that powerful knowing? But I worked the tools anyway, and sure enough, that year, we made that on our income tax, and I was like blown away. But it was also, you know what? Hours of overtime, hours of having to go in at 1 a.m. It wasn't fun way to earn your prosperity. And then there's other people that just say, out of nowhere, somebody just walked up to me and gave me a gift of $500. And you're just like, that easy, that graceful. So this is the play of the divine consciousness. This is that substance that I speak of. And recognizing, keep thinking, I am one with all of this as we share these ideas, and please just notice continually what is stirring in me. Where does my heart open? Where do I doubt what I hear? And where am I open to know a new way? In the Bible, in the Acts somewhere, it says, in him we live, move, and have our being. It is in that grace that we live, move, and have our being. In Eric Butterworth's description, and I've heard it in other places too, God's substance is everywhere present, just like water is for the fish that swim within it. And it's the same for us. We are created in a substance, formed of a substance, and ceaselessly supported by this substance. Emerson says the free flow of substance in your life is the continuation of the divine efforts that made you in the first place. In Deepak Chopra's work, he has 7 laws of success, and he speaks to what I spoke to a moment ago, potentiality. And that impresses me because think about the possibilities, okay? Try not to think of where you had been and what you had constructed around you. Only look back at that as a learning tool to help set you free, to help take you out of that sense of being bound by that precedent into something that is free, the potentiality. These are Deepak's words. The source of all creation is pure consciousness. Now, do we all agree on that? Do most of us agree on that? Pure consciousness? Pure consciousness, pure love. This idea of something so vast and grand, and it is that which we reach into and allow our faith to be placed at the altar of that pure consciousness. So, pure potentiality then is seeking expression. Pure potentiality is seeking an expression from the unmanifested to the manifested. So in that pure consciousness, in the unmanifested, we think our word, we think our thought, we align our heart and feeling with that thought. And it is created, and it is up to us to not worry about it, to taint it with the stink of, well, I don't know if I'm good enough for that. I don't know. Did you see the stock market? It did something this week. I don't understand those terms, but that sounds scary. Something dropped by 2,000. What does that mean? Or maybe it was 200. Or what's a Dow anyway? I don't know. I hear that news go across. Oh, we ought to be concerned. And I'm thinking, yeah, I think I should. I don't know what that means. I'm not quite clear on what that means, but I'm feeling a worry start. I'm feeling a worry start to churn. And then I think, I don't understand it. I have my money with Christian Rizzi and his work. So I think it's in good hands. I just think it's something that has its energy, and then we can invest ourselves to just know that just as the leaves fell from a tree, if the Dow drops, there's a season where it will rise again, right? Can we trust in that? But there's so many people I know that the minute something happens, they're running to the bank and they're getting all their money out. And they're putting it in their house, like in a drawer, where it's safe. Until there's a fire, right, Kathy? Until there's a fire. And that did happen to somebody. And it's tragic. But it's how we look at this potentiality. And when we realize our true self, this is back to Deepak, our true self, this deep, pure self that sits at the altar of our heart, when we realize that this true self is one of pure potentiality and we align with that power that manifests everything in the universe, we are aligned with that power of creativity. This is where, as Ernest Holmes says, the power of creative process begins by the power of the word of our mind and the belief and the feelings that we invest behind that. So I want you to think about that and what happens when we ask for supply from God's substance. What does all sufficiency mean to you? God is all good. I begin there. I begin there when I'm tormented by being pulled by experiences of other people, or I'm pulled by news. I have to pull back into myself and say, in my universe, God is good. There is a good unfolding here. And if I look out at my landscape and my trees are barren, I know that it is an evolving part of nature and the leaves will blossom again. And I rely on that truth. The good itself is expressed always, this good. These innate qualities are life, love, power, wisdom. They are the power of the universe. They are the power of the divine, longing to be expressed. And we are that activity of God. We are that. Eric Butterworth's words. We are that activity of God. We don't have to suffer or separate ourselves from the good that's always present. Ernest Holmes says we use the creative power of the law every time we use our mind. We break it down. So how are you using your mind? There's one part of this talk, and it kind of goes into the 10:30 talk, but the enoughness. When is there enough? And we speak of enough all the time. Yeah, and Charlie and I did it this morning. Oh man, I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't either, not enough. And there's this, I didn't get enough to eat last night. I kept wanting to, I was looking through the cupboards, I wanted a cookie. And I could not manifest a cookie. He's eating Cheerios, and I'm thinking, that tastes like a cookie at all, like a cookie? I need a cookie. And it's like these distractions that happen upon us. All of a sudden, my pantry didn't seem like it had enough to satisfy me. I can't even see through the pantry. There's so much junk in there, but there were no cookies. So I look at this sense of sufficiency and good, and just think about the idea of enough in your life. How many times do you accidentally fall into the trap of using those words to outpicture your experience? I really want to retire, but I don't know if there's enough. When will there be enough? What does that number look like? It's undefined for all of us, truly. When can we just lean into our faith? And when will our faith be enough to allow us to live in that freedom of knowing that we just need to sit in spiritual practice and allow this sense of the divine to anoint us and awaken us? So, every activity of God is expressing as us, and our thoughts are the highest order. Think about the times. Not enough time, not enough energy, not enough sleep, not enough money. Notice when you hear yourself parroting those words in your consciousness, because what we repeat manifests. And so as a ambassador on the budget team, we will each stay wise to that, knowing there is more than enough. So I invite you right now to kind of center yourself on the divine qualities. Look at your health. Look at life. Look at joy in your life, abundance, beauty. Kind of just look at that. Where am I with those qualities? And then Deepak Chopra says, the experience of the self means that our internal reference point is our own spirit and the object of our experience. We rely on this self-referral for our reference and center and knowing of truth. Wholeness resides here, not in the fragments of society and the stories we see outside of ourselves. Wholeness is designed and held in the center of our being. We are never separate from it. It is when we are aligned with those divine qualities, versus when we're object influenced, when we're outside of ourselves. So when we look at circumstances, when we're looking for approval or seeking approval from anyone, when we see ourselves in any form of fear base, any kind of fear base, it has a very shallow feeling. You know what it feels like. Your heart shrinks within your chest walls. Your jaw tightens, and the mind just goes off on its own. So look deeply and notice what has been disempowering you, and begin this very moment, begin with the next breath to seek control over that. Because worry and fear and attachment, fear, and an attachment to anything has a pull, and it can be a very strong pull. But deeper than that, when you invest yourself in the spiritual practices of being still, being silent, and let the divine speak through you as you strengthen. We're allowing ourselves to take the seat of consciousness, to take the seat of pure consciousness. Oh, there is the glory. And when we watch ourselves take the footsteps towards that, it's an awesome invitation for each and every one of us to go deep within the self and have no fear, have no need to control anything, have no need to struggle. And as we speak a lot in the Upanishad class, that's the razor's edge, to stay there, not to waffle, not to buy into the juicy story someone else is sharing with you. That's not my story. That's not my God. My God is good. My God is good all the time. So your true self or your soul is allowing you to live to your full potentiality. And we recognize we're not the self-image of that. We're not creating an ego self or a false mask over that. We have this sense, this deep part of ourself is fearless. It is absolutely fearless, yet it's also humble because it's willing to see everything. Why is it humble? It's seeing everything in a unified field. It doesn't think I have more than you. I'm better than you. My 401k is better than yours. It's none of that. It's all, we're all here, taking from the same substance, and there's more than enough. So our essential beingness, as we go back to that, is pure consciousness. Pure consciousness, back of all of everything that there is the substance. It's the truth. And knowing that we're capable of creativity, and therefore we step into the possibilities of our experience, and it's limitless, and it's exciting, and it's challenging. But there's no separation between you and me in this field of energy. It's exciting. We have 2019 to look forward to. We have this deep self to walk with us, to teach us. So our spiritual practice, here's our spiritual practice for this week. Silence. Absolute silence. Not reading a book and being silent, but silence. Meditation. And sitting with non-judgment. And as you do, sit in that abundant field of potentiality. Sit in that infinite field where creativity, freedom, and bliss, sit in that field. Be very, very still and notice in the gap of my thinking. What is there? What is rising? What needs to be purged from my thinking to allow myself to relish in this abundant field? As I participate in that field, I have more to give. I have more to offer because there's more than enough, that word enough. In Course in Miracles, there's a practice that says, today I shall judge nothing that occurs. How long can you do that? Doesn't take me, I watch myself. Sometimes I think, this can be a day I'm not going to judge. Oh, shouldn't have listened to that on the news on the way in. I was walking to an elevator at work and I just passed them and they said, oh, you look like you're suffering. And I got inside the elevator and I snapped back. What do you mean? Suffering. And I was talking about this to some friends, and I thought, I have my foot hurt, but I thought, none of her business. See how judgy I got? Just like, I thought, leave me alone. And she could be very loving. She was very loving. She let me take the elevator, but I had to be all, just went like that. And I had to, get back in the soul seat. Because I don't know what took over. Some whiny, creepy part of myself just kind of got irritated when I got inside the elevator. But I recognized it, I released it, and I thought later, after I shared with friends and had to talk about it 3 days later, I thought, she's just being kind. Kindness. So know your own true nature. There's no guilt in your own true nature, no fear, no insecurity. Realize that all material wealth is just really life energy taking a form. And you are life energy, and you are part of that. So in your spiritual practice this week, just be aware what comes up for you. What are you experiencing? What are you creating? What are you creating right now as I speak these words? What do you want to choose from the substance of the divine? Because you become what you think about. You become that. It's not wrong to desire money. It's not wrong. It's a substance created into form. We've lost our way. Desire the money and use it wisely with gratitude. Let it be an extension of your love. There is no person in the Science of Mind text that he says these words, there's no person whose entire time is spent in the contemplation of limitation can demonstrate freedom from such limitation. So if we are focused on limitation, so be it. Unfortunately, that's the unhappy news with that. In the Bible it says, all that I have is thine. It is done unto us as we believe. If we believe we are entitled to a little, we receive only a little with worry. But if we believe in the manna from heaven, the abundant universe, the divine is ready to give, the allness, that we abide in prosperity, we turn on that power and make that connection to the divine and allow ourselves to be a pure conduit and have no doubt. So let us this week believe in our own successes, be positive, and feel yourself joyfully having yourself go to an elevator and having someone say, wow, you seem really confident. I am. My joy is boundless. Right? Can we manifest that and not have someone speak to my pain body that seemed to take precedence that moment? I think it's exciting to see how we can change the world. So I want to take us into a brief meditation, and as we do a closing in with this prayer, and these words are from the Royal Road of Abundant Living. So close your eyes and posture yourself and notice, am I really open? Am I open to the divine flow here? How big is myself? Where can I move through the confusion and the delusion and find myself seated in the divine consciousness of pure potentiality, pure consciousness? And here, as we connect and sit in the divine knowing, as we sit in the lap of all that is, we recognize that we are in charge of our thoughts. We are in charge of our behavior. Right where you are, right here, right now, you're in charge of the attitude. You're in charge of every decision. You're in charge. You're one with every emotional expression. No one else can do your thinking. No one else can control your behavior. No one else can govern your attitude. Feel the freedom. This is your moment of pure potentiality. No matter what you've done before, you're in the lap of the divine consciousness. And here you make your decisions. Here you make your decisions. Here you express your emotion. Put God above all else and know that you are consciously linking with the divine in spirit and heart. Such conscious union can have only one outcome. Breathe it in. You are guided by a divine wisdom. Find yourself. You are guided. You are guided. Find yourself. Harmonize with this divine protection. Harmonize. Be one with it. See the wholeness in the center of your being. I am one with that. I am one with that pure joy. Everyone now that I contact, I recognize they too are held in this divine grace, in this divine love. And this love is pouring through us as an exchange that never ends. This substance, this divine substance, continues to flow, ebb and flow and flow and flow through each and every one of us as us. In love and thanksgiving, I welcome prosperity into all of my affairs, knowing that prosperity is God in action and I am one with the divine. In the knowledge that I am one in the driver's seat of my life, I take charge and cultivate this attitude of gratitude, knowing my thoughts are multiplied and success is assured. The results? My life is encouraging. My life is encouraging myself and others. I know only prosperity can be the outpicturing of my moment of clarity and thought right here, right now, and I give thanks. I release these words knowing that I am stepping in to a new idea of who I am and what I am capable of. I can do this. I am more than enough. I can do this, and I give thanks. Let's do it together, and so it is. Thank you.